Hello, good evening. Uh, we are back with our class in managerial economics. So I hope that you will be able to connect the lesson that we are going to discuss today and also the previous lesson on the fundamentals of managerial economics. So back then, as we review on the lesson before, now there are fundamental tasks that a business manager has to really become familiar in terms of economic theories and also some concepts in economics that would help him make decisions that are important in directing the resource of the organization to achieve a, uh, a predetermined goals. No? So that in doing so, there are, I would say, helps that managers can access in terms of the usefulness and becoming more effective in the function as in his function as business manager. So, if we may recall, there are there are about seven of fundamentals fundamental concepts that business managers or managerial economic, I mean, business managers has to be familiar so that management and also managing the business actually would become more effective and also become more efficient in a way. So as a review, we understand that managers to be familiar about goals and constraints. No? Goals and constraints. The manager also has to be aware in terms of his understanding about the concept of profit. No? He has to know that, and the manager also has to be very uh, aware also in terms of how he how profits are how profits are differentiated in terms of whether it is accounting or economic profit. And then also remember the Smithsonian uh, philosophy or theory. The, in his book, Adam Smith, in his book, we entitled The Wealth of the Nation, that he emphasized in that book that the the concept of profit, in fact, is not bad because profit is actually signals where resources has to be allocated in order to get the best result out of it or from it. No? So it could be profit oriented or it could be non-profit oriented. But at the end of the day, profit after all is just a signal, and it's also something that provides incentive to the resource owner as well as those people working in him or with him so that the delivery of service can be made possible. So that is the concept of profit. Now this evening we would like to uh, emphasize or continue with another say very important concept that manager has to become familiar. One is the concept of incentives. Okay, as profits become favorable, increasing use of organizations' resources will impact on the management effort to produce or to induce the people to work hard and produce more. Now, that means to say, if you are gaining something, if you are earning a considerable amount of, I would say, incentive or profit, then the more that you will also be driven by encouraging your people to produce more. So within an organization, your ability as manager to induce people to work more, to produce more, depends on what we call as incentive compatibility. Okay? If you allow them to work overtime, you allow them to, you push them to work really double time. Well, it depends. No, people are, they respond to incentives. Now, incentive does not necessarily mean money. Incentives could be some other ways, some other things. So that we need to really be more discerning in terms of what sort of incentives could be more workable under your specific organization. So that's what we call as incentive compatibility condition. Okay, depending on the nature and scale of your business, there are various types of profit-friendly incentives that we can consider. This will be dealt lengthily in the succeeding modules. Now, incentive compatibility, I would say, uh, compatibility, I say constraint is actually the 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 way in which this the manager and the worker somehow meet halfway in terms of agreeing that such and such output needs to be achieved under a given agreement of compensation. So that if the agreed upon compensation matches the willingness to work, willingness to really strive more on the part of the workers, then your incentive, say, system is compatible in that sense. So unless otherwise it's different, then there is going to be a no-go in terms of pushing them to produce more. No? So incentive compatibility consider the trust, therefore, of managerial economics is to provide us or to provide you with a broad array of skills that enable you to make sound economic decisions and to structure the appropriate incentives within your organization. So that is the role of the manager, making sure that the incentive system matches with the, I would say, the culture of the organization, the dynamics within the organization, and and also most especially on the capability, the productive capability of the firm or the organization to be able to pay its own workers. And of course, it goes without saying that market is very important also in that sense. Then there are several examples of compensation or compensation package that are useful in inducing productivity or profitability of the organization. One is base pay, commission system, or profit sharing. No? It could be like that. One or a combination of various packages which are compatible under specific economic context of an organization. So a more lengthy treatment in terms of the theoretical or the conceptual strategies that can be implemented in order to design a workable and also an effective incentives. We will discuss that in uh, module 5 and module 6. No? Right now, we need to proceed a little further on understanding markets. Okay, understanding markets. There are two sides of there are two sides of every transactions in the market. Okay, for every buyer of a good, there's always a corresponding seller. The final outcome of the market process then depends on the relative power of the buyers and sellers in the marketplace. So when we say there is a market, that means to say there is what we call as agreement between the buyers and the sellers. What are they going to agree? They agree to make transactions. What is the transaction? Transaction, that means to say the buyers are willing to sell at a particular price, and the buyers are willing to pay, to purchase at a particular price, and the seller are willing to sell. So there is, in other words, agreement, meaning to say agreement in terms of willingness to sell or buy. That is what is very important in the market. Without that agreement, there is no go. There is no transaction that can happen. No? So in the market, There is what we call also as power, dynamics in the market, or we call this as bargaining position in the market. Who has the upper hand? Who has the lower hand in terms of the transaction? More often than not, what we call as there is always rivalry in the market. Okay, rivalry. Now that makes the market more interesting because there are rivalry, and then you need to address what is going to be effective under a given type of market rivalry. There are different types of rivalry exist in different types of market. Now there are types of rivalry. Okay, one is consumer producer rivalry. Now this occurs because the competing interests of the consumers and producers, there is no sell that can happen. Consumer producer rivalry, because situations can happen if two rivals don't agree. No, di magkasabot ang consumer o ang producer. So that means to say, no market transactions. The inherent assumption here is that each one has equal power. Okay, the consumer and also the producer both are actually in equal footing. You cannot say nga at the mercy of consumer or at the mercy of producer, because and the assumption here is they have equal market power. So that since they don't agree with each other, then there is no market that can happen. No? So that is something consumer producer rivalry. There is what we call also as consumer to consumer rivalry. It arises under the economic doctrine of scarcity. No? When there is very limited goods available for sale, consumers will what? Will compete. No? Will compete. Now, if there is competition of buyers, what will happen? There is an inflationary pressure on the price. There's going to be a upward pressure of the price. But we don't want that to happen unless because everybody loses in the end. Everybody loses in the end if there is an upward pressure on the price. So this situation, also consumer to consumer rivalry, happen also because there is a seemingly brewing situation of shortage of supply. So kinulang ang supply, so dili paigo sa mga buyers. So they compete, bidding the price up. A good example of this consumer to consumer rivalry is in the auction market. No? Everybody participating in the auction really is wanting to the utmost desire to be the one to be able to buy the product. So what happens? The winner is the one that bids the highest price. Now, if such is the situation, the more effective, say, market instrument or market mechanism to do, in order also to maximize the benefit of the supplier and maximizing also the benefit in terms of consumer surplus of the buyer, auction market system or market situation is very important. Okay, auction, that means to say you have to go through what type of auction are you going to do, are you going to implement. It's closed bid auction or like open bid auction. Usually for the open bid auction, it's also more of like inflationary. Okay, you announce the price, but in closed bid auction, you either write your bid and then give that to the seller, and then whoever bids the highest, then you get the goods, or you can actually whisper to the ears of the seller, just like what is happening in Malabon fish port. When the fish catch arrive early morning, so many fishing boats, and they're willing to sell to whoever is the wholesaler that will give him the price. So there is what we call as closed auction. The buyer will stand at the middle, and all the, you know, the owners of the fishing boat will just go near the buyer and then make bulong or whisper that is their price, and then something like that. And the others also will whisper, and then eventually, without you knowing what is the bid price of the other, then the buyer will just say, "Okay, I will, no, I will buy the fish of so and so." So he gets the price. So that's fair to everybody. It's close, no? It's close auction. So there are other ways. Maybe it's the government also can intervene in terms of money, say regulating the consumer to consumer rivalry. Rationing could be one, and there are several other things. No, the other types of rivalry could be producer to producer rivalry. Okay, this is a producer to producer. That means there is what you call as surplus. Okay, there is a surplus because producer can no longer unload in order to sell because there are only customers are almost like saturated. So they compete. Naturally, if they compete, they are going to pull the price down. And then at the end of the day, everybody loses also if they pull the price down. No? Given that customers are scarce, producers compete with one another. Another another way for the another for the right to serve the available compete with one another for the right to serve the available customers. Okay, what happens? There's going to be a there's going to be commotion. I mean, a competition among sellers, and there's going to be a tendency to pull the price down. At the end of the day, all the producers will lose, if especially it's too cheap and they are unable to recover their investment. Now, in situations like that, the government will come in. Okay, there is what we call as regulating. Okay, setting the minimum price so that everybody will survive in the process. The government will not allow that. It will go down very fast. Now, in some cases, the government can buy the surplus so that it will stabilize the price. But the government can only do so much. It cannot buy everything because the government has no money also to do that. So what happened is that the government come in by instituting certain policy, probably, no, in depending on the applicability, the government will impose a suggested retail price or price freeze, for example, so that the price can no longer go down as fast as it is going on. Okay, that is producer to producer rivalry. The other one is government and the market. There is still government, and there is also it's a market. No, there's also a market. Now, government somehow can intervene if there is for example, what we call as market failure, or the normal market is no longer capable of really, like, no longer capable of allocating the the goods and services in the market because either it lacks the necessary information infrastructure, or there is no proper there is a divide. There is there's an asymmetry in terms of, like, what what the buyer knows, maybe the seller does not know, or what the seller knows, the buyer does not know. So there is a seemingly disconnect between the buyer and the seller. In that sense, the government will come in, no? Or there is a total what? It's a total crash of the market infrastructure. Wala na. Especially during calamity, there is going to be a market failure because infrastructures are destroyed, no communication. So the government has to intervene in that sense so that everybody will survive in the process. No? So that is also very important role as far as the government is concerned. So in that
in the market, there are three very important types of rivalry that we need to understand: consumer to consumer, producer to producer, and of course, you have producer and producer and consumer. Take note what is happening, okay, in each type of rivalry, okay, and what is the remedy for such a situation, okay, what is going on in that rivalry, and what is the remedy, suggested remedy, or more likely remedy for such a situation, in order to avoid really a competition between each other or rivalry that will be disastrous to the market. Okay, take note of that. Now, let's move ahead to another type of concept that the manager needs to be familiar. Another one is the understanding the time value of money. What do you mean by time value of money? This is the timing of many decisions involve a gap between time and when the cost of a project are born, okay, and the time when the benefits of the project are received. Okay, in management decision, okay, if you are operating if you are running a business, managing a business, there are situations where the streams of income flowing into the organization will come in several spaces of time, and also several like considerations of time. Maybe for example, year one, negative profit, and then year two you have a little profit, year three, and in year five you have maximum profit. It could also be like year one you have this much of cost, year two, year three, and year five you have huge cost incurrence. Okay, mudako imong cost. That means to say, you are faced with a situation where there is uneven streams and flows of cost and revenue, and then to be proactive and to be profitable, you as manager, how are you going to deal with that? Okay, this is the situation where time is of the essence. Okay, time is of the essence. As others would say, time is gold. But lately or recently, it's no longer time is gold. What is the new normal now? Time is more precious than gold, no? Because of so many alternatives, so many opportunities at hand. If you miss the time, you miss it like missing a uh, a gold bullion. It's more than that, no? Because of so many options and alternatives for you to be able to, earn more in terms of the available resources that you have. No? So it is therefore important to note, okay, in time value of money, it is therefore important to note that the 1 peso today is worth more than, okay, is worth more than 1 peso received in the future. That is the real philosophy of time value of money. For example for this particular statement, which is better, to receive 100 pesos today or to receive maybe 1,000 pesos 8 months from now? Okay? So, in other words, it is better to, you know, to it is better to to catch the chick in your hand than to wait it to become rooster maybe 3 or 4 or 6 months or 7 months from now. So that means to say, what is important is the here and now. What is the present state of resource that you have? That is very important for when we call it time value of money. But considering that streams and flows of cost and revenue does not come at the same time from the beginning of the enterprise project life. There is what we call as a space of time as it goes on, So that's why what is present is more important. What is it? What is to be received in the future is of less important. But you can make those future receipts or future accruals benefit. You can make it useful by reducing its value to what is current, to what is present. In other words, you decide on what is present. But there is a technique in uh, time value of money where those that still to be received in the future has to be factored in, has to be reduced to its more present value. That is what we call as discounting. Okay, this opportunity cost reflects the time value of money. No, now you reduce everything since there is a stream of incurrence of benefit and cost in the future, and somehow you need to make a decision today. So that means you reduce all values to its present value. Okay, so that means to say present value. Okay, present value of an amount received in the future is the amount that would have been invested today at a prevailing interest rate to generate a given future value. In other words, you bring the future profit or future cost to its present value so that your decision is based on current situation. Okay, so how to do that? There is a formula. Okay, to compute for the present value, we call it, we use the formula FB over 1 plus I to the power, that is power, to the power n. Okay, to the power n. FB is present future value. PV, here it should be PV, no? It should be PV. Okay. Now, present value is equals to FB over 1 plus I to the power n. Now, n is the number of years considered in the analysis. If future value is to be received 5 years from now, that means n becomes 5. Okay? If it is 10, n becomes 10. Okay? So this is the formula for computing future value. Okay? What is the present value of 50,000 to be received 15 years from now? Okay? You will receive 15 years from now 50,000. What is the present value? So that means to say FB is 50,000 over 1 plus I. Say, for example, you assume like 10% interest rate. Okay, you assume 10% interest rate. Sorry, and then quantity 1 plus I quantity to the power 15, because the 50,000 is to be received 15 years from now. So you will get a value of 50,000 current at the current situation or present situation. So that whatever value is that, that is your basis for decision. You might realize that 15 years DI, if you receive 15,000 50,000 15 years from now, and then if you use an interest rate or cost of capital equal to 10%, so that means to say the 50,000 to be received 15 years from now is equivalent to, for example, 32,000 na lang presently. No, it's no longer 50 because you reduce the value to current value, considering all opportunity cost of capital or all situations that still is very uncertain between now until the 15th year. Okay. Now, the net present value is another concept, but it is just an extension of the like, for example, an extension of the present value formula. The net present value, that means to say net after deducting cost. No? After deducting cost. So you have, if The net present value is that if you have a a streams of future values, okay, from year 1, year 2, year 5, year 7, and year 10, no? For streams or periods that you are going to receive something, future value. So, but in order to do that, since you have a project, you need to invest on the project now. No, you need to invest. That's why you have the cost at year 0, Cs of O. That means cost at year 0. Okay, so that means all the streams of benefit or future values that are incurred, you reduce that to future value. For example, the one that you will receive 2 years from now, for example, 15,000. So 2 years from now, 15,000 over 1 plus, assuming 10% interest rate, 1 plus 0.1 quantity to the power 2 man, 2. Okay, to the power 2 plus summation man, plus if there is another benefit that can be received, okay, that can be received maybe 5 years from now, and then maybe 20,000 5 years from now. So that means 20,000, okay, remember, plus 20,000 over 1 plus I to the power 5, and so on and so forth, and such and so. So you add all the future values, discount that to the present, and then what is the total? Minus the like cost at year 0. That means your investment pag sugod mo sa project. Okay. So that means to say, whatever is the result, if it is positive, then the project is I would say the project is worthwhile pursuing. But if it is negative, meaning the cost is greater than the present value, forget about it. It's not feasible. It's not possible. Okay? So it's just as simple as that. Huh? And then mathematically, this formula converges into, okay, this one. NPV, net present value. So you have, this one. Cash flow at year 0. Okay? That means to say, when you cash flow at year 0, these are all cash flow. That means to say, if it is cash flow, different area, different dimensions, or like what? Different periods to be received. Cash flow, you reduce all the cash flows to what? To present value. Okay? Now, cash flow 1, cash flow 2, cash flow, that means cash that you will receive in different time horizon. Okay, you get all this present value. The present value of the cash flow that will be received at year 1, the cash flow that will be received at year 2, the cash flow that will be received at year 3. Okay, you simplify using the formula, and then add to cash flow at year 0. Why is it that cash flow at year 0 does not have we call this the discount factor, the 1 plus I? Because cash flow at year 0 is current. You don't discount that. You have that at hand. So it's really as present as it is. Hindi mo i-discount. That's why you don't have the discount factor, which is 1 over 1 plus I to the power n. Now this one also I will explain to you. There is no n there. The n there is 1. So no need of putting. Okay? It's 1. So that means it's 1 there, and then 2 and 3. Okay? Because in 3 years' time, mauna yung cash flow. You add that, you will get the net present value. Take note of this formula. No? Take note of this formula. When you use Excel, in the computation, be sure that the current the money that you receive, that you have now at hand, should not be included in the discounting formula. Ang kanarang imong ma-receive at the end of the year, pero the money that you have current included in the discounting. So that means that money, face value of that money, plus the discounted benefit that is still to be received in the future. Because ang uban man god, pati kaning year zero, i-discount gihapon, i-include gihapon sa discounting. That is erroneous. Okay? Take note of that. The present value of indefinite live asset, we call it the perpetuity formula. Present value of an indefinitely lived asset. Ano lang, cash flow for regular na madawat nimo, infinite. You just have to divide that by the cost of capital. That is that can already serve as total regular mo siya ma-receive nimo. So if it is really regular, that regular imo lang i-divide sa iyang interest rate, that we call it a perpetuity. Parang very wala undang, like maybe 15, 20 or 30 years. So the present value of that money is just the cash flow that is regularly to be received divided by the interest rate. Mauna siya yung present value niya. Okay? Now, that is the time value of money. Remember what is to be considered in the time value of money? The cost of capital or the interest rate, the I, importante na. And then importante po ang the space of time where the benefit or the cost will be incurred. Okay? That means to say you have to consider that, because that is going to be part of the exponent of the quantity there, 1 plus I to the power, whatever is the time horizon that you are looking at. Okay? And then the basic, I would say, analysis or the basic assumption of time value of money or philosophy is that the money that you receive now, 100 pesos that you receive now, is greater than the 100 pesos to be received at the end of the year. Okay? So, what is the lesson? The lesson there is, if you have amount of money now, inod ka sa imong whoever's you are going to receive this amount of money. The money is there, and then you can withdraw this anytime. But you can also withdraw this at the end of your schooling. But the money is already there. So, okay, at least na kay madawat the end of your schooling. But if you are allowed to withdraw that money now, and then you have a very productive investment that can be used, or that you can probably engage into, invest that, because the money now and the money in the future, di man maura maghihapon, pero ang time value ana dako man, no? So you withdraw that, like for example, in my case, I will not go somewhere else to make an example. In my case, I have a live credits, which can be monetized now, depending on the approval of the authority or the management. Okay, I have a live credits. If I have a live credits good for 1 month, for example, the 1 month live credits, I can withdraw that at the end of my retirement, which is X number of years from now. Now, the management said you can monetize your live credits, like maybe 15 days of your live credits, pwede mo i-monetize. So, if I have a good alternative for investment na ako'y paglaanan nga very profitable, I would rather monetize my live credit. Why? Because if I invest that, it will grow. And then, it wouldn't be the same after X number of years when I retire. Whereas, if I'm not going to monetize that and just wait for my retirement, whatever is the amount, now maor maghapon yung amount dito. So, So that is, but if you have no other alternative, you don't have any other options at all to make it more productive now, oh, ay nalaglabti. You will just end up nothing at the end of your retirement if you are going just to yung kwanta, no? Ayaw na. It's really a strategic option that will multiply your wealth, actually. If that is very positive, go. Okay? Time value of money is very important. Now, the thing is, here now, we go to the next concept, very important for manager, is marginal analysis. This is one of the most important managerial tools, repeatedly used in managerial economics. Marginal analysis states that the optimal marginal decisions involved in comparing the marginal incremental benefits of a decision with marginal incremental cost. Now, the, the marginal incremental benefit ko no, should be greater than the marginal incremental cost if we say the decision is favorable. Okay. Now, first, we need to settle what is marginal analysis in the first place. Okay. What is the simplistic, I would say, translation of marginal analysis? To me, from my experience, marginal analysis is the same as per unit analysis. Okay, per unit analysis. That means per unit price, or per unit profit. Okay? If you know the per unit profit, and then you also know your per unit cost, compare that, whichever is higher, then go. Okay? Or per unit revenue. Okay? Per unit cost also. Compare that. If per unit revenue is higher than per unit cost, then that is the decision. You go for that decision. Why is it important? It is very important because in the market, you are not facing total cost. You are facing per unit price. Okay? That's why it is very important for entrepreneur, farmer, or processor, or whatever, to know their per unit cost. Per unit cost, what is the cost of production per unit palay, per kilo of palay produced? Because the price of palay in the market is given. So all you need to do is to manage on your per unit cost. For example, if the price of palay there is like in the markets, 15 pesos, mayroon ka. That is too low. Alkansi na ko ana. How did you know? Alkansi na. That's too low. How did you know? Na low na siya kayo. Okay? What is your basis? Mahal ang inputs, mahal ang daghan ng donasyon. No. Show me your color. Okay? How did you know? What is your basis? The only basis to really argue that that one is low or high or whatever is that is for you to have a clear basis how much is your unit cost. Okay? The kilo of palay is 15. And then you go back to your record. My cost of production is only 9 pesos. I will go for that. Ginansya na ko. No? So, very important as manager. Unit cost. Because in the market, it's unit price also that is confronting you. So that is just like that, no? Very simplistic. So, marginal analysis. The marginal, for example, if the optimal amount of hiring additional worker in your organization, this is about hiring somebody, no? To return the organization or unit is determined by number one, improvement or increase in productivity as a result of hiring, and the cost incurred in hiring additional worker in your organization. Like for example, decision to do overtime or not. Ikaw manager, overtime ta. Time sama. Basig mag-gasto na tayo ng overtime. Well, depende sa imong kwentada. what is the expected output? Okay, what is the expected output of having an overtime? So this much. What is the pay for the overtime pay? So how many units that can be produced? Okay, i-divide mo na sa cost incurred in doing overtime. So you will get the unit labor cost or unit whatever input cost, and compare that to the value in terms of unit price of goods that are to be generated as a result of the overtime. So it's really just a unit cost comparison, unit cost and unit price. However, once the additional worker is added, it adds up more to cost than benefit. Then you stop hiring. Kung di na po kaayo na yung output, ayaw ngayon ka nga, nagpa-overtime, kag tulo, dugangan mo upat para mapaspas. Napaspas tuod, pero maoro maghapong output. Maoro maghapon. So, it's not profitable. So, you have to be as manager, you have to have a solid basis. Di kay kumo moingon ang worker nga, boss, overtime ko ron kay aron maapas na to ang kod. Ya, kuntadaan pila may mahurutan na niya og overtime. Pila yang mahurot in terms of kurente, pila mahurot in terms pila yang labor, overtime pay mahal ba na kaysa normal rate. So how much pila ka oras and then pila ra yang ma-output kwintada daan. The kwento and the kwenta must be clear. Amo yun ay importante if you are the manager. So there are three types of managerial decisions under marginal analysis. One is discrete decision. This is the situation where managerial control variable is discrete, meaning to say integer or no fraction or unit involved. Discrete, no fractional value. This is very characteristic of the discrete nature of the problem. So that means to say, if it is discrete, you can use this, for example, equation. No? You have all values are obtained using this equation. Net benefit is actually the benefit, the total benefit, okay, the total benefit minus the total cost. Simple. Where NQ is net benefit and total benefit and total cost. You subtract, that is your net benefit. Now, if you want to be optimal in your decision, take note of this table. No, take note of this table. We want to be very sharp in our decision to be able to apply the concept of marginal analysis in benefit and cost calculation. You tabulate, for example, this one is just simple derivation. No? Simple derivation, okay, using this particular example. One is column 1, these are the quantity. In other words, employment volume or labor ba na, employment number of units. No? So you have here given from 0 up to 10 levels of employment. And then what is the total benefit ni makuha? Okay, you have also from 0 to 450. Okay, and then from the total cost from 0 to 550. And then, so that means to say, if you are facing that situation, all that you can derive or given na sa inyong record, kanirang column 1 to 3. Mora na ihatag nimo, you make a decision asay maayo nga number of workers patrabahon. Ano ba? Asay maayo, asay mora nang tulo ka column. So as wise and as a manager na nakakuha na ka managerial economics, you proceed on computing the column 4, column 5, column 6, and column 7 para maano nimo, para makakita ka nga, this is the optimum decision that I should do. Okay, given the column 3, compute all the others. So you have the column for like net benefit, column for marginal benefit. Net benefit is just 2 minus 3. Column 2 minus column 3. Net benefit. And then marginal benefit, follow the formula, that you have the change. No? D is change. Column 2. So may column 2. From 0 to 90, 90. 0 to 90, 90. From 90 to 170, that is 80. From 170 to 240, that is 70. And so on. You compute the change. And then marginal cost also, D is change, delta. That is called in column 3. Okay, column 3. From column 3, from 0 to 10, 10. From 10 to 30, that is 20. And so on. Almost. You have computed that. And then also, the marginal net benefit is actually column 5 minus column 6. Column 5 minus column 6. So, imo rin yung subtract. Mauna na resulta diha. Now, you will notice that in this particular data, the optimum, okay, the optimum, that means to say, sagad to the brim, sagad to the max, ang imong employment, that means to say, profitable ka, maximum profit na siya, maximum benefit. When you employ only 5 workers, okay, 5 ra, imong pa employment nga, overtime mo nimo, or if that is, these are laborers. Why? Because your marginal net benefit is equals to 0. Marginal net benefit equals to 0. It does not mean to say nga 0 profit. It is maximum profit. Why? Because you have actually gone to the extreme most, in other words, the frontier in earning capacity. Beyond that, you will already incur decreasing marginal net benefit. Maka-decrease na, kung sobraan mo employment. Why? Naghuot na di na mo output o maayo. No? So, that is the principle then is to find for the point where marginal net benefit, okay, marginal net benefit, and compare the marginal net benefit is like the situation where marginal net benefit is the situation where your marginal cost is greater than or equal to, okay, greater than or equal to marginal cost. Mauna yung marginal net benefit. So, the marginal net benefit of 5, that means to say, you are at the frontier, the maximum possible earning capacity that you can get, no? The maximum earning capacity on a marginal analysis. If you employ more than 5 workers, you will notice na ka-decrease na imong profit. Profit nga mo nga, pero it is already decreasing at an increasing rate. Okay? So, mao nang katura juga kutob dito. Okay? That means the principle of marginal, like the marginal principle therefore to follow is maximizing net benefit. The manager should increase, okay, take note of the word, should increase managerial control variable to the point where marginal benefit equals marginal cost. Okay? That is at the point where marginal net benefit is equals to 0. Nothing can be gained by further changing to further after that. Marginal cost is marginal benefit equals marginal cost. That is what we call as profit is maximum. Okay? Profit is maximum. So, mao na yung principles of economics. So, continue on until you reach that particular point. Pero sometimes, lisod pagpangita ng equality. Okay? Lisod pagpangita ng MB is equal as in equal good to MC, where net benefit is equals to 0. It's difficult to, now how do we deal with that situation? To deal with that situation, continue on employment for so long as marginal benefit is still greater than marginal cost. Okay? Greater pa siya by certain point, okay na. Kaya basta lang niya employee pag manigative na noon. So that's safe for a manager. But kung makuha gini mo ang 1-to-1 correspondent equal to 0, MB is equal to ideal situation. But kung di makuha ni mga ideal situation, for as long as marginal benefit is still greater by a certain number, it's still okay. It's still okay. That is the almost ideal, say, employment rate, employment volume. Okay, let's proceed. Now, question, why should we aim at the point where net benefit is maximum, not at the point where total benefit is maximum? Okay, that's something that you can think about. Why should we aim? Why should the aim be at the point where net benefit is maximum, not at the point where total benefit is at maximum? Okay? Kung imong balikan ang table, maximum ang total benefit, pero ang net benefit negative. Tanawa balik to table. I'm not going to go back to the table again. I mean, even if I go back to the table again, you see, you have maximum total benefit, like for example, 450. But how much is the net benefit? Net benefit. Even the net benefit is already negative 100 net benefit. So it's not. It does not always follow that maximum total benefit is profitable. No, you have to really be very careful where and at what point where marginal net benefit, okay, meaning to say the marginal benefit is almost equal to marginal cost. That is the optimum point. So that answers this question. Okay, that answers this question. Now, discrete, we go to continuous, say, situation where you are going to decide for marginal analysis. This continuous situation, this is a situation where the managerial control variable can be assumed fractional units, not just integer. The analytics behind this type of decision is depicted in the graphical representation of the table, okay? Of the table, katong kanina, no? Now, the principle is marginal value curves are the slopes of the total curves. Okay, that means to say the slope of the total curve is given by Q at the marginal cost of the level of Q. Likewise, the slope of the net benefit curve at given Q is the marginal net benefit. That means to say the solution, okay, the decision rule. The manager should adapt a project if incremental revenues will be earned if the project is adapted. Okay, what are incremental revenues? Incremental revenues, the additional revenues that stems from the yes or no decision. And the incremental cost is the additional cost that stems from the yes or no decision also. Okay. Now, kanina we were discussing about equations, di ba? Kanina siya. Equation. Okay. You have here just to really expand a little bit on the expand on the question how to find for the optimum condition for continuous problem situation. Sometimes your marginal your benefit equation or your benefit is given by a linear equation. Your benefit B is equals to 2x plus 2y or something like that. Okay, or B is equals to 50 plus 4q. B. Then your cost is also given by cost is equals to 3Q square, pananglitan, imong cost. So, how will you compute for what we call as, di man ito ninyo ha, ang imong, ang imong, the benefit, for example, is equal to like, equal to, say, for example, 20 plus 3Q. Okay. Kani, this one, express that in equation. Just hypothetical. And then your cost is equals to 3Q or like 2Q squared. Okay, 2Q squared. So if you are writing that, how to find for what we call as like continuous decision? Okay, the solution for a continuous decision given this condition. Okay, given this condition. For a continuous condition, the solution is still the same but different approach. Okay? Diba kanina we were discussing about the optimum point is at the point where MB, marginal benefit, is equal to marginal cost. Diba kanina? I told you that katong sa discrete. Okay, and then we derive using the table. But then here, it's still the same. MB is equal to MC, marginal cost. But here we use a different analytics. We use the facility, the mathematical facility of calculus. Gamay naman. Gamay ra. For example, the B equation, the benefit equation, you get the marginal benefit. How do you get the marginal benefit? The marginal benefit is the first derivative of B with respect to Q. Okay? Kung inyo itong gisuwat ng akong 20 plus 3Q, mauna imong B, okay? What is the first derivative of that with respect to Q? So, partial of B with respect to Q, that means what? That is 3. Diba? That is 3. Kung yun sa nabagang 3, balik mo sa inyong math. Balik mo sa inyong math. Arithmetic naman ang sunod na. So, the partial derivative of benefit with respect to Q is 3 because 20 plus 3Q. So, 3 ang yan. So, ganun na 3 man. Ganun pa may 20. Review sa inyong calculus. I'm not going to explain that anymore here. So, and also, marginal cost is the partial derivative of your cost with respect to Q. How do you get for the partial derivative of cost with respect to Q? That is partial of Q with respect to Q. Okay, partial of C with respect to Q is equals to, pila man na? 4Q. Okay? 4Q. That means to say that 3, okay? That means to say 3, 3Q to ganina. 3 is equals to 4Q. How did I get 4Q? Okay, calculus na po na ang procedure. The square times the coefficient, 4, and then the 2 minus 1 is 1. You have to have that 4Q. That means to say, at optimum profit, take note, at optimum profit, ako na naman yung oral, it is actually the situation where it's equal to 3 is equals to 4Q. And Q is actually equal to 3/4. Okay? 3/4. I-derive lang to nimo. 3, na ang 3 dire, di ang 4Q. Solving for Q, you have transfer the 3 to the other side, you have 0.75. Okay? So that's how it is, no? That's how it is. So that's what we call as continuous solution using calculus. No? So if you have a problem with your calculus, maybe after the class, review a little. No? So the decision rule, incremental revenues, and incremental cost. Okay, this is now what we call as another type of marginal analysis decision. Given this table, so you have here current condition. Okay, this is another approach for marginal analysis. Current condition, and then you have a decision whether to expand or not. Okay. So, financial impact of expanding operation at XYZ grocery. So, mauni imong current situation ron. You have a total revenue of 1 million something, and then you have workers to pay, and then you have variable costs, and then finally, after computing everything, net profit of 100,400. And then, if you expand, what will happen? These are your new cost. Mo-increase kag cost, napoy imong ubang cost nga mo-increase gamay, ang uban maurag hapon, and then human you have maurag hapon dinhi imong depreciation and everything, and so on and so forth. That means to say, if it is expansion, you will get a 118 what's this? A net profit. But looking at this column, it would be beneficial to use marginal analysis. Okay? Imong tanawon ang incremental change. Okay? For example, imong line column, incremental revenues and cost. That means to say, you have here revenue and then cost nga sa ubos. So you have here a incremental na mga revenue, that is 1.9 million minus 1.7, you have 183,000, and then and so on. So you have 183,000, and then you have here 840 minus 750, you have 90, and so on. So you have this additional cost of 165,000. That's the only additional cost that you will incur. So ang imong benefit of expansion is 183,000 minus additional cost nga 165, you get 18,200 nga net incremental benefit. Okay, so mao na pud na siya nga procedure. Kanina discrete, you have continuous, ang kanipon is aggregate. Pero marginal analysis lamang gihapon na siya nga technique. You can do a lot of manipulations and do a lot of applications for marginal analysis if you do that, which is very powerful. Simple siya nga solution, but very powerful or very impactful in terms of the operation of your business. So make do or make use of this particular concept, marginal analysis. So I've given you last time assignment. I hope that some of you have already submitted, or most if not all of you have already submitted that assignment. Okay, with that note, so I hope for some of you na wa maka-attend ani nga lecture, you will go back to my Moodle classroom and listen to this video recording of the lecture. Thank you, and have a pleasant day.